phone, unite person to join the meeting.
We should be good to go. Okay, great. Welcome back, everybody. Those of you that were with us earlier, and if you weren't, welcome to you. And we're doing these career builder sessions, and we started these last year after the annual meeting when Dr. Angela McBride spoke with us about orchestrating your career. And she had so many things to offer to us, and many things that we didn't get to go into in great depth. So I'm kind of going back and picking on a few of these topics and things that are this is to help you develop your career, really, and little tips and tricks and so on. And I do these. I love doing them. And basically, what we do here in these sessions, it lasts an hour. I talk fast. You ask questions. We just try to get some of these ideas, out on the table for you to consider. So, and here we're going to go and start. This topic is presenting yourself professionally, and just again to remind you about signing in. Be sure that you log in on the web first, and it looks like everybody's pretty well set there. But again, remember about the telephone signal. And this is how it seems to really well for us to participate. Is we're going to have all the lines muted, which they are. Tanya does that for us, and so if she hasn't, she can. And then I'm usually pretty good at seeing that hands raised, and I think everybody knows how to do that. Little icon down in the lower left of the participant box. It's a little raised hand that looks like that picture. And then I'll call you, and then you can unmute yourself by pushing the *6 on your telephone and talking, and then putting yourself back on mute. So we had a great session last time. I think we didn't have any disruption or background noise, we got some active learning and participation. So hope for that for this hour too. So, again, this is a topic, and we're kind of following up from some of the activities that we did at the annual meeting even. So here's kind of the overview of what I thought we could talk about. Why even bother about presenting yourself, and then we'll talk about 4 ways to do it: the posters, the podium presentations, the portfolios, and positive networking. It is my hope and intent and goal that before you leave the CLC, whenever it is that you're finishing up with us, and for some of you that's going to be the end of this academic year, I love that you could do a poster, a podium presentation, a portfolio, and positive networking. And I know everybody's doing a portfolio, so you're off on that. We're creating opportunities for everybody to do a poster. And those of you that did it at the annual meeting, you're off my list. But if you did not do it, you are on my list. So I will soon be soliciting people who want to do a poster for our next face-to-face session. And then we have another one. That one's in February. We have another one in March, I believe it is. So there's 2 more chances for you to do that. And for you to see if we can get some podium presentations going too. Last year we did some of the doctoral students doing presentations for us, and I'm happy to facilitate that if you'd like. But I think some of you probably present in other venues too. And then the positive networking, which we have many opportunities to do. So that's the agenda for the day, and I'll talk a little bit, and then we'll stop and ask for comments or questions. And you guys probably have some good examples here, so we can bring those in too. So we'll talk about why do it, and basically I was trying to figure out some good words to put on this slide, but this is how you are known in the field, and you want to become known in the field. This is how you're going to learn opportunities, how you're going to be called and invited to do things, how when your name comes across somebody's desk that they're going to remember you from seeing you someplace. And you want to be sure that you at all times are presenting yourself in a way that gets you positive notice. So it's part of being a professional, it's part of being a career, and it's definitely a part of being a Robert Wood Johnson Foundation faculty preparation scholar. So we want to be sure that you are maximizing yourself and the opportunity that you have here in being in this program. So just to make this a little more scholarly and let you know that there are people who study this and have come up with stages of career development. Those of you that heard Dr. McBride speak last annual meeting knows that she has a model for career development. And actually, all of you who were in the program last year got her book on leadership. Was fabulous, and I went back and kind of looked through that when I was getting some information together for this session. And I would say to those of you that are new this year, see if you can borrow a copy of that from somebody in your program who might lend you a copy of her book, because it is really, of all kinds of tips, and it's really interesting reading. So I'll recommend that to you. But here's another framework for career development, and basically there's these 5 steps, and the first one is, to look at the environment and see what's in the world and where you're going. Some self-assessment, where are you in relation to that? And then the next 3 things we're going to talk about a little bit more specifically, but creating the vision, what you're all about, what you want to be when you grow up. And we're going to take a little minute, and everybody's going to write their elevator speech, a couple 90-word statement here. And then, you want to be thinking about a career plan. And the last step of this, which I really find intriguing, is marketing yourself. And that's basically what we're talking about today, is how present yourself. And when we see meeting, we really don't think of that as something that we do, and most are kind of humble and modest in the first place. So nothing that not all of us do easily, but it's a skill that can be developed, and that's kind of what we're talking about today. So there's that framework, and I have some instances at the end of this session, so if anything intrigues you, you can go read it, a little more about it. So let's start here, with this step 3. We'll jump into it, because I'm thinking that you've already done some thinking, because you've already decided on, your course study and your major and your focus, and you are still, trying to zero in a little bit further for your dissertation and some of that work. But in general, you have an idea where you're going. So I want you to write down your mission or your elevator statement. Let me flip to the next slide so you know what this elevator speech is. And the way about this name is, if you were in an elevator with somebody and you had to, a key message about yourself, you really just don't have too much time to get it all out. So it has to be short, it has to be focused, and it has to be on the top of your mind. And I remember being at a conference with one of the scholars. We were riding up an escalator, and we were talking, and this person was kind of talking about interest, and so I probed, and I said, well, tell me what are your goals? What are you about? In other words, I was asking, for the elevator speech, and this person was able to come up with it. So you want to have it at the ready, because you never know who's going to ask you what it is, and the elements. So you have to, tailor it for who you're talking to. You're telling your good friends is one thing, but telling of a school of nursing who might be employing you is another. So to kind of describe your work and what your strengths and contributions are, and then you kind of need to say, what are you wanting, what question do you want the person who's listening to this to do for you? So kind of want to have it ready to tweak and be ready to go. If I'm asking you, because I like to know what you guys are up to, because lots of times things come across my desk that I would know what to forward to you. So you can think of me as somebody that you want some action from. But you're going to be looking for jobs, and you're going to want some action from the person who's to hire you. So 90 words is what we suggest here, or what was suggested. I'm going to go back here now. So 2 minute. This is another. If you were on the last session, we did kind of a 1 minute paper. This is not a 1 minute paper, but it's a version of that. I want you to do it quick. Write your elevator speech, and then add some examples. This is what's into it. Something you're going to somebody in a position that can be of use to you. What is it you're all about? Where are you? What would be helpful to you? So just keywords. Raise your hand when you're ready to share with us. And Mary, I think the icon up. Let's see. What is it? Go faster. Go slower. Anyway, probably talking too fast. So we should have a couple of elevator speeches. We've already ridden to the 5th floor. Raise your hand when you have one. This isn't.
Dan,
Yes.
it's Man. I just wanted to tell you that that was a gremlin. I wasn't telling you to go faster, slower. Right? So I'm going to mute myself again.
Oh, that's fine. Not to worry. I
Okay.
thought there when I was scanning for hand raises, and I thought if it was a message, but
Yeah.
go
Look
ahead.
again and say, "Oh God, is that what that is?" Okay.
Well,
I'm
look at. I look up too.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Maria. Let's hear from Maria, and then I'd like one or two more of you. Okay, Maria, go first, and then we'll see somebody else. So hear your elevator speech, Maria.
Can you now?
Yes.
Oh, good. No, I usually, I know I probably was one of those people that have gone up and down an escalator or elevator with someone and tried to get in my interests or, to get across to them. I would say mostly that, I've had years of experience in nursing education, that now I'm looking to do PhD research and then my area of research, which, do you want me to go through all that too?
Yeah, say it.
Okay. I am currently studying the healthcare economics, looking at improving access to care, and my current interest now is looking at trust issues, perceptions of trust. I'm looking particularly at disadvantaged pregnant women who are during the prenatal period, and I elevator speech. I guess it depends on who you're speaking to.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's coming from a person of business or economics, you can go more into details on that. If it's someone from the nursing perspective, like a maternal health nurse,
Right.
you would talk on that issue. So I was kind of describing some of those things.
Sure. Yeah, and if you're talking to me, you would just say if you run across anything along these lines and you think they would be of help to me, send it on. Something simple like that.
Yeah, exactly what kind of depends on the audience, who you're trying to speak to. I had the opportunity to speak to some policy leaders, and so if I'm going to talk to them, it would be implications for health policy. I'd go on that maybe more.
Perfect. And the minute that you say something like, if you see anything like this, or if you hear about a job that's like this, or if you're looking for somebody who's doing policy work, or I'm looking for an internship on policy work, let me know. Then they're bonded to you.
Exactly. It's funny. I've had that kind of opportunity because when we were at the Robert Wood Johnson, the boardroom, they had the leaders in the boardroom that morning, the workshop, and I had met one of our assembly women, and then recently she called me because we had a sort of an elevator speech, what my interests were, and I talked about a maternal health clinic, a public clinic, and she was talking about funding for it, so she called me on it. So it's that kind of thing where I guess I left an impression enough so that she could, give me that phone call.
Yes, and that's exactly, this is the perfect example. Thank you for sharing, because that's exactly what you want and why you're doing it. But if you don't have this right at your fingertip, have practiced it a little bit and
Right.
know how on the fly to adapt it, they're really stuck and you've lost a fabulous moment.
And I've also had opportunity too where I walked away and said that didn't go so well. Shucks, I wish I should have said something else. So I've had that opportunities too where it's not out the way you wanted. Like you only had that certain period of time, and I should have said this, I should have said that. But you learn.
But yeah, exactly. You can go back and reflect and write it down so that I can get the exact words that I want. Because on the fly, sometimes I'm not using the song words.
Right.
So,
Right.
Very good. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And Ola, I think your hand's up. *6 to unmute. Can you share an elevator speech? Ola? Oh, I have to go to Sheila, maybe thinking that Ola's hand is just up randomly. So I'll go to Sheila, and then I'm going to go to Mary. So Sheila Lintz next, and then Mary Thomas after that.
Oh, you can hear me now?
I do.
Okay. I couldn't come up with 90 words, but
The 90 words.
I wrote something really short. I wrote, I am interested in all aspects of quality of life as it relates to people with severe mental illness, and I'm especially interested in ways to relieve their social isolation and to facilitate social integration.
Okay. And if you were saying this to see at the annual meeting, and it was somebody who is on the board of the advisory board for the NJNI, what would you say to them? And kind of action that you might want?
I would talk about ways that psychiatric nurse practitioners can be utilized to work with this population. I think that we're underutilized, in fact, and that there are many examples of really important work that psychiatric nurse practitioners do.
Yeah, okay. And you're going to be looking for perhaps, and you might start planting some seeds, or maybe you'll be looking for subjects for your dissertation. I mean, that's another action that networking when you're in the dissertation stage is helpful for.
I am, and that's what I'm. Yeah, that's doing. And actually, I have. Well, through my little speeches, I've made some contacts at the meetings and gotten involved with some very interesting things having to do with the visiting nurse, Christopher, and her group.
Yes, okay.
And I was able to go over there and work with one of their nurse practitioners, in, working with ER usage clients, and I was helping with the people who were mentally ill.
Okay. So those things you want to bundle in there and get it adapted and tailored for the people. And I guess you're making to the point, that annual meeting is rich with networking opportunities. We'll talk about how to network in a little bit, but it's rich. So I'm glad that you were able to, have that happen. Get some outcomes. So thanks for sharing. I'll do Mary, a quick one from Mary, and a quick one from Lisa, and then we're going to move ahead.
Hi,
So,
am I there?
Yeah, you're here.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
But one of my other questions to you is how do you engage the shyer person? And I think that may be me. So here goes nothing. I'm talking to somebody.
Yep.
and here's
Put the elevator speech positive.
Okay, here's my elevator speech, and I'm up against somebody right now who may have some way of focusing me or directing me to research. And my interest is in providing the elderly with a higher quality of life. And if they're interested, I'm going to continue with, I want to be able to recognize some of the risk factors associated with dementia onset. Well, if they're still interested, I wanted to kind of look at the prodromes and depression that were related to dementia. And I'm interested for this because I want to see if the floor nurse can recognize some of those onsets, those prodromes, so they could possibly intervene to help that person with that phase of depression or potentially dementia onset. So just thoughts.
Yeah, perfect. And could then also mention your experience, that, you know, if you've worked this area or whatever, and then if you have, you know, if you're saying this, somebody you might be able to find, you know, a position or a setting where you could do some, find some subjects.
I have phenomenally found one of the institutes, one of the nursing homes that actually is a teaching institute. What they do is they basically just do their research studies out of it. It is funded by a very, very large pharmaceutical company, and it's just a beautiful facility for that type of exchange to go on. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Oh, great. Good. Well, thank you for sharing, and yes, it was a good speech.
Thank you.
Lisa, and then we'll move ahead. Lisa Heelan. To unmute, yeah?
Okay. I'm a doctoral student at Seton Hall University. I want to improve the quality of maternal outcomes by understanding why clinicians and nurses don't follow evidence-based practice guidelines when providing care to laboring women, which is contributing to the very high cesarean surgery rate in the United States. Do you know of how I can get other people to know about this?
Okay, so you're looking for somebody to help you raise awareness about the problem. Great, and it was clear what you're all about, and you might add again, you know, what work have you already in this area, and why you're continuing to work on it. Good job.
Well,
okay.
Thank you.
All righty. I think we got the gist of how to do this, and everybody should have one at the ready. And if I talk to you and say, "How's it going?" What is your elevator speech?
Hello.
What's going on? What do you need? And who do you need from? Okay, we're going ahead. So, so now what you need and where you're going. Make your career plan. Some people like to write it out. You know, you guys can decide on how do you want to go. Everybody be sure that you're muted.
Hello.
Yeah?
That is all. How are you? I didn't know how to unmute myself.
Okay.
Initially. I was going to say, I'm hoping that I will meet one of my senators in the elevator.
Yes?
One of them had actually written me a congratulations card based on the article in the paper.
Yes?
The Robert Wood Johnson Fellows. So I'm going to say thank you so much for your call. I'm interested in preventing sexually transmitted diseases in young females, and in trying to, I'm interested in looking at why they participate in risky behaviors. I was hoping that you could give me an introductory letter to the STD clinic downtown. I really appreciate that.
This is clear as it can be, and thank you for it. Kind of reminded me. You all can preface your elevator speech by saying I'm a Robert Wood Johnson Foundation scholar in the faculty preparation program at the New Jersey Nursing Initiative, so that people that will get their attention right away, and they will be wanting to pay good attention. Okay, so, to unmute everybody, to be sure that your *6 is we're mute again. Okay, so make your plan. You know, you can make it as detailed or as you not want. And one thing now that you're really pressed for time because you're in school and doing a lot of stuff, working too probably, if you have a strategic plan in mind, you know whether you should say yes or no to anything that's asked of you, because it all should tie together for that strategic plan. And this is just a thought from me. I do believe that strategic planning takes time, and you need to be spending close to 5 to 10% of your time on this. And, you know, this is something that gets pushed to the back burner because papers are due, or you're tired at the end of a long day, and you don't have time to deal with it. In fact, if you're going to have a career instead of a job, you need to be nurturing it and thinking about where it's going. So this requires some time keeping your CV up, rewrite that elevator speech, deciding where you're going to, you know, what your next steps are, and so on. So always throughout the rest of your career, give some time to thinking and planning. And then also, I find that people are surprised when some of the things that are related to career management take some money. So you want to have business cards, maybe letterhead, these posters, those of you that have done those, if you're not funded some way to do it, you have to take that out of your pocket because those posters are great marketing for you and for your agency. You'll be expected to go to conferences and so on, and the budget's certainly like it once was about supporting people to conferences. So be sure that you set aside some where you can grab some money, that's related to your career development. And if you need to put it in an account or put some little bits around it, you want to be sure you have something like that. And these things that you decide to do, you can look at them as an investment in your career. So give thought to doing that. Okay, and then I'm moving on here to the step 5 of this career development plan that those two people with there. And these are the 4 things that I kind of the highlights here for the rest of the session. And again, I think most of you know about these, and I'm just kind of reminding you that you do. So posters is certainly one way to be marketing yourself. And I think lots of times you think you're out there presenting your materials, you're also presenting yourself. And I'm going to talk so much about how to develop a poster. You all can go out and read, and you've certainly seen a lot of examples because you had 6 or 7 really good ones there at the annual meeting. It's attractive and so on. And but I'm kind of giving you some ideas. I ended up going to 4 meetings in the last month where there were posters. So I was trying to get the best of what I saw out there, and so anyway, some of the posters got way too much information, and I couldn't grab it all, and I then ended up moving on. One thing you do is be sure that you're, whenever you have a chance to write a grant, be sure that you're building in all those grants want dissemination activities, and you be sure that you put that in the budget. So you'll find out soon how much it costs to make a poster, and you want to be sure that you do that. And some schools or clinical agencies maybe have a little grant fund for supporting poster development. So think about that. And this is, again, the main point of what I'm saying here is that you're presenting yourself as well as the poster. So you want to be sure that your name and affiliation are visible. And I have to say, walking around to all these posters, many times I didn't even know who was there, who did it, and if the name was there, sometimes it was so small I had to really squint to see it. And another thing about the affiliation, somebody said St. Vincent. Well, is it the St. Vincent Hospital in Indianapolis, or is it St. Vincent someplace else? And if it was Indianapolis, I would have, made an effort to be sure I found that person and had a little chat with them. So your organization too. That was one point that Anna Bride makes in her book. Is this isn't just all about you, but it's about who you're representing because you did this work. And if you were funded by somebody, and you all are funded by Robert Wood Johnson Foundation now, so you want to be sure that you're giving them credit. You all should have business cards, and so that people contact you, and you can hand those out if you need them. And what I noticed at some of the sessions recently here is that they have made a 8x replica of the poster. And if you're doing your posters electronically, you can size them down to 1 sheet of paper. And they had them available there with the poster. If it was just a poster that was tacked up, they'd put a little footer there and tack that up, and then had these hard copies as a way to take home. You want to be sure that people have something that you can give them and that they will remember you and can contact you again. And I went to NLN. There was some information that I wanted on a poster, and I didn't have time to get it one day, and I went back the next day, and the poster was down. I went to the abstracts trying to find that person, and I got the name, but no affiliation, no email, no way to contact her, and it was only because I could, I think I Googled her and got a hold of her. But had she had business cards, and she took her poster down early, she could put up a little sign and said, sorry, you missed my poster, contact me here for more information. That would have been helpful. So be sure that you're leaving enough contact information that people can get a hold of you, because that's what you're trying to do here when you do these posters, not only disseminate, but to build a network. Okay, sure you're at the poster, and most of these sessions have required times when the presenter is supposed to be there. And again, at some of these meetings, I walked around and the presenter wasn't there. So be sure that you at least do that. Have your speech. So whenever somebody comes by, they're in the work, but you're there because you want to network. You're going to do the next step of your research or your next project. You want them to use your project. So be sure that you're ready to say something to them that's meaningful about you, your work, and what you need next. And, be sure that you're kind of building out a nice network here with the people that you're speaking with, and not just talking only about the content of your poster. So I think you guys are good about posters. I'll say it one more time. I'm going to be looking for volunteers soon, so get ready. Okay. And podium presentations, and again, this is another way of marketing. I like that word, but it's the word in the model, so I will use it. The podium sessions are another time for selling yourself and making people about you and your work and where you're going with the next steps. And here's just again from listening to a lot of these sessions in the last month. Be sure that you rehearse it so that you can stay in the time limits, because there's always and much more to say than there is time to do it. I know that from doing these webinars. And most of these sessions at bigger meetings have a room monitor, and that person is supposed to be able to help you get set up and introduce you and so on. But if they don't, then you want to be sure that you start out with saying all the nice things that you want said about you. The introduction is key. Write that out. Be sure that whoever's going to introduce you says the things that you want known about you, and not leave it to chance. And if I'm a monitor, I always ask the presenter, what would you like me to say about you? Maybe I have the information or a little but I want to be sure that I'm saying as much things as key things. One of the things I went to was presented by a star informatics researcher who knows how to use AV support, but something went on her in the midst of her presentation. Fortunately, everybody, the room monitor, knew how to call for the AV support, and she was back up and running in 2 or 3 minutes. But if you're that AV support, you want to be sure you know how to get it. Be sure that you let people know what it is that your elevator speech is, what you want them to know about you, and what you need, and what your experience is. Even again, during the podium presentation, have some kind of a hard copy or handout so that people can take it home and file it where they can remember you. Have a business card if people want to contact you, and be sure that you're engaging with the audience and trying to build some relationships here too. It's just not a matter of going and doing the session and running out of the room. And I learned from my director of continuing education that there are name tags on our right shoulder, because when people shake hands with us, they are looking kind of in that direction. So be sure that you put your name up on your right shoulder, your name tag, and when you're meeting people, that's just a little random tip there for you. Okay, so portfolios, of course, is another way to do, to present you, and you all are doing these. And I'll have to say, those of you that I've seen them now on the second year from some of you, they're fabulous. And the ones that graded last year, they left their programs with some really nice portfolios. I'm going to just flash these up, because those of you for whom this is new, I put in the project spaces some information for you there that you can actually think there's a archive of the session we did on this last year. But, again, it's summary, it's your philosophy, your elevator speech. Again, it's not just doing it and handing it in for this program, but it's a way of marketing yourself, showcasing yourself. And I think more and more when you're seeking a faculty position, it's either required, expected, or appreciated. So doing this was not for naught. And be sure that you have an up-to-date CV, all of that. Sure to include your awards and recognition. Sometimes I was looking through these, you guys' portfolios, and some of you did not mention that you are Robert Wood Johnson Foundation Faculty Preparation Scholar. And that's huge, 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 huge. Okay, and here's some examples of teaching to include. You guys will understand all of this. And so be sure you have that, and headings. We've talked about that before. And then, about your research. And for those of you that are doctoral students, I would love to see that you have had something researched and something published. That's just kind of how to jumpstart your career in academic life. And you can think about some of your things that you published, even e-learning modules and so on could fall under there. And I've encouraged you just now, keep it up to date. Some of you are writing them as documents, but we also now have those electronic services that keep up the portfolios, and they're kind of nice too. And that follow the format for your institution, and when you have a faculty job, you'll have to fill it out every year. Make your CV like the one that the institution wants. Okay, so enough just to have a portfolio. You need to have your biography at the ready. And Angela McBride, talked about that. You all had that. Some of you, those of you that did posters, had that experience. We decided kind of, within a week of having it due, that we wanted to put out the bios of all the people who were in the posters. So I put out the call. We did a little bio sketch from you, and they had it ready. You just flipped it over to us. But if you had to come up from scratch, you had to spend some time doing it. So taking it, again, it's kind of a little riff on your elevator speech. Have it all ready to go. And if you're doing any, this is probably more for the faculty in the CLC, but if you're doing any work on grants, in that bio sketch ready is like NIH or HRSA requirements. It's a 2-page form, because call and say, can you be a consultant to the grant? Can you you want on this grant? I need it 2 days from now. I'm on a deadline to get it submitted, and if you have to stop everything and spend an hour or two to get it ready, it's a lot of work. So have something written, a little narrative about where you are. Then we're going to go on and kind of talk here a little bit about networking. And again, this is an art and a skill to develop. And I've been around many of you at these meetings, and all of you at the annual meeting. And some of you are artful, masterful. I'm taking lessons from you guys. So it's really, really important that you know how to do some of the things that, to get yourself and network people that are going to be helpful to you. And here's, again, this is a process. The purpose of it is that you will meet other people with interests similar to yours. And that's why the posters and the presentations are so useful. And Tracy was saying she went to the APHA, Public Health Association National Meeting, and her posters were with people who were interested in both. She probably met some people who had some really good ideas that she maybe follow up with, and they learned about her. So it's a way of getting your network going. And networking relationship is kind of an expectation of a mutual benefit. So that's one your elevator speech. What is your experience? What can you contribute? And then what do you need? And people are interested in you if you are doing interesting things that interest them. So be sure that you can say that in a dialogue. and you're trying to develop a professional identity, you want to be known as the person who knows the most about chronic pain and interventions for chronic pain. So if that's your identity and that's your vision for yourself, you want to be saying that to everybody that will listen. Okay, and really the whole end result of networking is to be able to locate whatever you need in 3 calls or less. And I'll just say, that's just been so true. Whenever I need something or whatever, over the years I've built up a pretty good network of colleagues that know stuff that can put me in touch with people. Okay, so where do you do this? Every day. You're networking at school. You're meeting new faculty. Actually, sometimes random things. I've sat next to people on an airplane and, elevator speech and found some connections and somebody that could lead me to something. So be open. We're going to talk in a minute here about social networking online, and that probably is where lots more of your networking is going to be taking place now and in the future. So we're going to do that, and then email is also, each time you send an email, it's kind of a marketing message. So that address line, that you put underneath your name, be very informative. And I also have kind of a little sense that it's a good idea to have one email that's going to be with you for a long time, because I think once you leave this program, we want to get a hold of you. The email that you're using now at school won't be available to you, and we won't have an idea how to get a hold of you. So, and I'm just kind of funny about liking an email that's something that it's close to the name of the person, I'll say, not something too silly. But that's me. Okay, how do you do this? Well, you need to be out there. Sign up for committees that are going to have interesting people on it that are in the area that you're wanting to become known or get information. Going to meetings, and then, doing more than just sitting in the session or going to the pool. You want to be out meeting people, and you certainly want to be creating your network by having people know what it is that you're all about. And certainly the posters and presentations are good, but I put it in big letters here, or highlighted letters, publications, because people often know you more through your publications. You can reach many, many more people and disseminate your work farther, faster through, writing for publication in journals and books and wherever you can, wherever it's appropriate to disseminate. So be sure you're doing that as well. And then we're going to talk a bit about social networking here. And make the caveat about Facebook. I know many of you are on that, and do know that employers and others that are interested in about you may find you through Facebook, but what's in there, you would want it to be also professional. So be careful, particularly when we're in a job hunting mode, that your Facebook isn't too silly. But then there is another social networking tool. It's called LinkedIn, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But this is really targeted for professional networking, and you don't talk about what you're doing and thinking on a day-to-day basis, but you're putting out professional information and looking particularly for jobs. So when you're doing social networking in the same way that you're doing face-to-face networking, you want to be sure that you have a purpose and that you're following those guidelines for the elevator speech. And let's talk about LinkedIn here. To be sure that everybody's still with me here, let's have you raise your hand. If you, I'm going to use the second question. How many of you have a LinkedIn account? So raise your hand. Okay, looks like we have 8 people. And all of you, well, here at the end of the session, I know a couple of you have, because I've been asked to be on your network. Okay, good job. And you can put your hands down now, and because I'm going to try to stop and save some time for questions here. Think of LinkedIn as kind of an online version of your portfolio. In other words, your job history, a little bit about what you're doing, and this player. You want to kind of build it out that you're putting in enough information about your current position, and I would Robert Wood Johnson Foundation scholarly is part of whatever you're putting out there. That's an eye catcher, and you have the opportunity to do it. And we're going to be, and you can put a picture out there, and again, it's a way of connecting with lots of colleagues and the faculty. But we are going to be using it here in the New Jersey Nursing Initiative Faculty Preparation Program as a way to have you have access to information about jobs. I'm probably skipping ahead here. Let's talk here, and I'll go back. So want to use this LinkedIn site for you to have an opportunity to post information about jobs that you are aware of, and then also for you to go out and search for jobs. And if you come around a little bit further into the LinkedIn, you will see that there's a way for you to do some job searching, and the richer and the deeper the network, the more access you will have to be able to do that. And then also, as a way for sharing. Then I'm going to call on you, and just a second here, let me back up, to talk a little bit about an account, and then we're going to create, Jim Quackenbush is going to create a closed account for those of us that are members of the New Jersey Nursing Initiative. That way, there's a little bit of what's put out there is a little bit more private and just available to the people who are the members. And all the team, the CLC team, we've gone out and put our LinkedIn information out there, so you can link in with us. And just by virtue of doing that, you're going to have a pretty substantial network of people there. So that's kind of one of the big takeaway messages here from this session is that we would like for you to be using LinkedIn, and this is where New Jersey Nursing Initiative, when there's information to put out about positions or other important information, this is where it's going to be posted. So, Jim, can you easily come on and chat here and give us any other information that would be helpful for us to know at this time?
Yeah, Dan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, hi everyone. What I want to do is encourage everyone to go out there, create a LinkedIn account, and what we did is we created a closed group on LinkedIn, which we're hoping will be, enable everyone and be a way to facilitate everyone staying in touch and communicating going forward, because what we want to do is create a sustainable network where people can continue to link to each other and above and beyond as people graduate and move into their careers. The great thing about using LinkedIn is that once you're out there and you establish these professional connections, not only to each other but with your faculty and your mentors, those people are linked into other people who will probably see where faculty jobs or other jobs may become available. So you should be able to, or you will be able to, leverage those connections and be able to hopefully an inside track or be able to see those opportunities, and number two, leverage the contacts you have to try and connect people who can put you in touch and put may or speak on your behalf for those opportunities. So we're going to encourage people to use LinkedIn. Of course, it's not a requirement, but we strongly encourage you to go out there. I saw a lot of hands up, and that's a good sign. But we want you to go out there and create an account. And what I'm going to do is I will go out there and look to see if you guys are out there. And then once you do see you out there, I will send you a LinkedIn request. Hopefully you'll accept that request. And then what we'll do is we'll start building out the NANI private group on LinkedIn, and then we can create a forum out there by which people can communicate.
Okay. Jim, does anybody have questions for Jim? And Claire, your hand is raised.
Everyone, I had a question. I received an invitation today from a colleague from New Jersey State Nurses Association for Via Deo Group, and I was wondering if anyone was familiar with this professional online network.
Well, I'll say I'm not, but maybe those of you in New Jersey, spell that for us, Claire.
It's IADEO.
Do you know what that stands for, or what?
Not a
Oh, okay. Well, if somebody knows, raise your hand or pipe up. But one thing, I'm usually a little on the cautious side because you don't really know what's what. But I do have a sense that some of these organizations are creating their own networking. And Sigma Theta Tau, I was just at their meeting where I ran into Laura Zareski, and they have what they call the circle. And so I've got the site there for you. And if you're a member of Sigma, and there, that would be useful networking. So I guess, Claire, I don't think we've got anybody who's their hands here about knowing who that is. Maybe Google them, I guess what I would say.
Well, I mean, it says it's a now 40 million professional, so I think it's probably legit, but
okay.
You know what? Then comes the question, how many networks do you want to be in, and how many?
That's absolutely true. I think there's various times in one's life where this is more important, and I think for the people who are looking for jobs or wanting to change jobs, that's one thing. They're wanting to network around their research or projects. Those would be some key things. And getting some good inside information from it, I'd say it's probably a very helpful thing. So
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for bringing that up. Okay. So I think LinkedIn, again, I'll encourage you to do that. But let me stop in rattling pretty fast and furious here. What kind of comments or questions do you have here on anything? It's crystal clear. I know I'm fast and furious. Trying to be with my time frame here. Well, while I can let me do my summary here. You know, again, this marketing, it's what to do. It's part of being a professional, and use these to your advantage. Again, even if you're 5 to 10% of your time is just thinking time while you're traveling back and forth or doing other random things, it's really useful to take stock and see where you're going. So, those are the key points. This is what follow-up activities are over the holidays, because this is what I'm going to be doing when I have this little break here. I'm going to update my CV. Be sure your portfolio is moving along. If you don't have a bio sketch, get those at the ready. I'll have to say I'm glad to have mine because people somehow they want it the minute they need it. So have that ready. You can tweak it. At least have a start of it. Be sure that you're using the LinkedIn, and then Jim's going to get you into the ANI LinkedIn. Get your elevator speech, write out, and practice it whenever you have a chance. When you see me next, I'm going to ask. Get your network built and build it out even further. And some of you should have a poster ready. And I'm letting the new doctoral students off the hook this year, but for sure we want to have all the master students who are graduating. We want to give you a chance to have a poster. This is a line on your CV. So I thank you. You know I am. You can find me. List of references if you love reading about this stuff. And next time we're up, we're going to be on December 9th on talking about how to help the students for whom English is an additional language. We're going to talk about the tips for finding that ideal academic appointment. And certainly some of the tips have to do with networking, and they will, again, will have to do with LinkedIn. So, and then February 10th, we're face-to-face somewhere to be announced, but we'll let you know as soon as we know. And posters. We'll have a call for posters. And the topic there is evaluation, and we're going to do a few other little things, too. So keep in touch with me if you have ideas. And we're going to follow up with an email in a minute. So what other questions, comments, feedback? Anything for the order here? You would lean around again, I see.
Oh.
Debbie's happy face there, or what?
I'm trying to find my hand here to put up. I muted myself too fast.
Okay, go ahead.
It's Mary Ann McDermott.
Yeah.
I really just wanted to reinforce what you said about the scholars up front, that they are the Robert Wood Johnson Scholars, and that it's a competitive scholarship. It's not just a gift; they earn it, and because sometimes I think, especially the newer ones, might be reticent to do that, and it's good. If people have a problem with the fact that they think that someone else doesn't, well then, don't make that your problem. That's just.
Right.
I'm a Robert Wood Scholar, so but I'm so proud of them, and I want them to say it.
Yeah, exactly. And when I was reading Angela McBride's book again, she talks about how important it is to the agency who has made you or given you the award. They need the publicity, so try to think of it for yourself. And I'll say I was so proud of one of the scholars at the NLN meeting when she got up to ask a question. She said, "I'm a Robert Wood Johnson Foundation faculty scholar," and then went on and asked the question. And that whole room now knows about Robert Wood Johnson Foundation faculty scholars.
And they pay more attention than if they just say, and there's nothing about being a doctoral student. It's not just because that's what I was. And that's very special. But if they're all doctorally prepared in the room, not overimpressed with that, but they're all not scholars. And that makes you different. So I'm going to unmute myself and get off my soap.
Well, thanks for sharing. And then, Sheila, I see your hand. I think it's up for a counter question.
Hello.
Okay. Yeah,
Is my up?
Your hand is up, but
that's a mistake, and I'll take it down. But
okay.
while I'm on, thank you for
Yeah.
all of this. This has been really interesting.
Okay. Well, I hope it helps. Some of whatever a little bit might stick, it'll be all to the good. Okay, we're 4:00, clicking off here. We try to keep these on time. So I'll wish you all happy Thanksgiving and a nice little break from everything, and enjoy. And we'll see you back again on December 9th. Email me if you have comments, questions, feedback, whatever. I'm going to sign out if you guys are ready to sign off. It looks like